Bridgewater was trailing Emory and Henry by 18 points at one point in the second half. You guys battled back all the way to within a 2-point conversion, so at least a good fight back. Came up just a little short. Can you talk about what happened that game?
I think you're right. I was proud of how the kids fought, in the second half, really on both sides of the ball. Our defense had 6 3-and-outs. They kept giving us, as short-sheeted as they are from a personnel point of view right now, they kept giving the offense chances. I think the offense, we took control possession time. We had yardage. We had first downs. But we're also, we got to eliminate those critical mistakes that might occur early in the game, but in the end, they influence the outcome of the game. Whether that be a fumble, a pass protection breakdown that turns into an interception on a ball popping up in the air when the quarterback gets hit where he throws, or a busted coverage that gives easy points to a defense on a defense. So it's going to be a grind. As I told our kids earlier, I know a lot of times you look at that and say, man, when are we going to get the bounces? But the reality is you make your own bounces, and we have to prepare for that and just continue to work hard. Having to go on the road and play a Guilford team that's really very similar to Emory and Henry. They're about space and speed. They got a big quarterback that can sit in the pocket and spray the ball around to fast kids, and it's going to be a big challenge for us as we work to dig out.
Yeah, Guilford was 9-1 last year. Of course, they've really developed that program the last few years under Pulowski, who was maybe the best quarterback in Division III. They had an All-American wide receiver that graduated as well. But then this year in comes Karsten Miller, a transfer. He's thrown for 15 touchdowns, run for 6 more. So really have been maybe more of a seamless transition there than maybe to be expected.
Well, you think it was. The kid came out of junior college and was heading to Central Florida. I don't know how he got rerouted to Guilford, and you got to deal with that. But, I also think, too, is that, hey, they're in there a little bit trenched, too. They're a team that 4 games ago scored 56 points on somebody in the first half to win and get ranked in the top 20. Got caught in the slop fest that really played to Hampton-Sydney's hands and got upset. And they lost a tough game last week against Shenandoah. Got a punt block, returned for a score, and weren't able to overcome it. Their quarterback was knocked out of the game in the late part of the third quarter, I believe. So in that situation, we've got 2 teams that are in a little bit of a trench, and it'll be a challenge not just physically, but character-wise too. It's a test for both of us right now. Who's going to dig out with three games left? Hey, there's plenty of time to take the brush out and paint a different color on this season, and my hope is our kids can respond to that.
You mentioned some of the injuries on defense, and looking at your depth chart this week, a lot of the new names are freshmen. So is that a good sign for the future that there's a lot of young players now getting into that 2 deep?
Well, they've been there by necessity really throughout the year. We knew we didn't have that big senior class. Particularly we've gotten beaten up along our defensive front, which was really one of our thin positions to begin the season with. But it's a double-edged sword. I mean, there's parts of it that you're going to maybe, if you keep the kids together, that it pays a dividend down the road. But we're really in a position here, Jimmy. Our goal is to try to beat Guilford, and to do that, hey, I wish I had the more experienced seasoned players. But it's really kind of a game where you play the cards you have in your hand, not the ones you wish you had, and that's what we have to try to do. There were some positives in last week's game. I mean, our 2 quarterbacks played well, when they had to. I think having that position, they've practiced this week. They'll be back again. We got to get our running back healthy because I think he gives us a threat too. And we also showed a little bit last week we have outside threats. And when you get the ball in their hands, they're capable of making plays. So it's a game we're going to have to go on the road to be efficient, but also play very well. And we're going to have to score some points to win.
As always, check BridgewaterEagles.com for live stats and video links, along with our radio feed with Carl Magenhofer and Zach Staten. That was going to be my last question. We can talk next week about the senior class, but sort of what is the approach for these last 3 weeks now as you finish off 2016?
Well, I think you owe it to those kids are sitting in there, not many of them, but they're fighting hard, and we're going to take it week to week. Yeah, there's a short and there's a long-term objective, but that's easy for me to look back and see as a coach, but I think it's a week-to-week deal. Really our focus has just been on Guilford. I think we got to our margin for error, we knew from day one, is 0. We've shown we're capable of playing with good football teams and beating decent football teams, but it's going to take a 60-minute effort. We're going to have to eliminate the mistakes that can cause you to lose when your margin for error is thin.